Welcome to Peterloo's Daily Dose, where we bring you the latest insights, stories and conversations shaping the future of general practice and primary care.
Hi, welcome back to Peterloo's Daily Dose. Today I'm joined by a very close person in my life. It's my sister, Leanne. Hi. And today we're going to talk about Leanne's journey with breast cancer, which is very close to both of our hearts. It was a very long journey. So, Leanne, I think we'll just start back at the beginning.
Okay.
So how did your journey on this path start?
So I think the first time that I went with some kind of lump on my breast was in 2016. I went to Bolton, I think it was Bolton Royal. I had a scan, everything was fine. And then 2019, I felt another lump again on my left breast. And then that time I went to North Manchester.
Yeah. I think I can.
Yeah. And then if you remember, like, went in, came back out, I was like, everything's fine.
Yeah.
It just said it's a bit of capsular contracture from my implant, like nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
And then fast forward 2 years from there, 2021.
Yeah.
I went back to my GP.
Yeah.
Because I found two.
Let's just clarify. Before you went to the hospital and they checked you and give you all clear.
Yeah.
You started that journey with your GP, hadn't you? So you've been to your GP when you found the lumps.
Yeah.
They referred you on what they call a 2-week wait.
Yeah.
Which is a fast track to secondary care.
Yeah.
And then that's how we got to Bolton and not Manchester.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's jump to back to 2021.
And then 2021, I found 2 more lumps, and they was quite high up on my chest. I was just like itched and thought, like, oh God, like what is that? So I think I told my auntie, because I saw my auntie the next day.
Yeah.
And she said, like, Leanne, go and get that checked out. It was COVID, like just coming out of COVID at the time. So I rang the same day and they said, do you a telephone consultation? So I said, oh, I appreciate that, but it's a lump on my breast. I have had previous history. I need to come in. So she made me an appointment for the Friday.
And how many days after was that?
So that was the Monday. Yeah, so it was quick.
Yeah.
Nice and quick. And then, I went on the Friday. And he just said, I'll put you on the 2-week path.
Yeah.
Like, try not to worry. I'd be really surprised if it was anything sinister, like young, fit, healthy.
Yeah, let's actually just touch on that. So at this point of your journey in 2021, you was age 33?
33, yeah.
So you wasn't of screening age.
No.
You wasn't in the screening programs, because obviously, as we know, that's 50. So...
Wow, is it 50?
Yeah, so you was... like you said, young, fit, healthy. You went to the gym 5 times a week.
Yeah.
You ate very, very well.
Yeah.
So as he would, he was you.
Yeah, of course.
But he obviously had certain concerns, and that's why he obviously didn't wait.
Yeah. So he said, I'll put you on the 2-week pathway and you'll get a call like quite soon. We'll get you booked in. So literally I left the doctors and went back to work because I'd been in my dinner hour. And it's 2 minutes away.
Yeah.
As I pulled up at work, I got a phone call from Oldham Hospital saying, oh, hi, Leanne, we've had a referral. We'll book you in for Monday. And at the time I thought, wow, that's really quick.
So it's done Friday lunchtime.
Yeah, this was
you
Friday.
You left the doctor's surgery, and before you made it back to work, they'd obviously received your referral from your practice over to secondary care, and they'd contacted you.
Yeah. So that was the Friday, and then they said, we'll make you an appointment for Monday.
Yeah.
So I was like, perfect. I didn't think anything back.
Because previously you'd been in that, on those referral pathways twice before.
Yeah.
You'd had those referrals and you'd been told everything's fine, everything's clear. So as you would, you just think it's just another one, another check. We'll just see how it goes.
Yeah. So I went on the Monday.
Yeah.
I went to Oldham on the Monday, Victoria Breast Unit.
Yeah.
So it was just like the normal procedure that I'd had before, just the ultrasound.
Yeah.
So I was chatting away to the lady and I said, oh, like, is it just my implant again? And she said, no, darling, we're going to do a biopsy. So I was like, oh, right, okay. Still not really thinking anything.
Yeah.
And then, so I said, oh, okay, like, when do I come back for that? And she said, no, we're going to do it now. So I was like, right, okay then.
Which is great.
Yeah.
But at that point, you probably, because you've been on the journey twice and it was always the same routine, for that step to then change, it probably was like you'd not had time to digest.
Yeah.
And because they was doing it there and then, naturally, you would start to think, something
It's like, oh, that's a bit different.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so I literally went straight from one room to the next room. They did the biopsy. And then after that, I went into another room and spoke to a doctor.
Yeah.
So I think when I look back now,
Yeah.
I think he not trying to tell me,
Yeah.
just talking about it a bit,
Yeah.
but still I just thought, well, it's just part of the
procedure.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then they made me an appointment again for 2 weeks after that.
Yeah.
To go and discuss. But still, I just like went home, like you as a mum, get on it.
Yeah.
It is there in the back of my mind because it was different that time, but didn't let my mind run away with itself.
Yeah.
And then, 2 weeks after that, I went back and I got a letter actually. I got a letter in between that time.
Okay.
Yeah. And it said, you may bring a chaperone. So I was thinking, right, okay, we're just coming out of COVID. When I was in that waiting room, there wasn't anyone with a chaperone.
So straight away, your mind's thinking something's up, something's different. The last 2 times, why are they telling me to bring a chaperone?
Yeah. So then we got there, and I was nervous. And I was just like looking around, and then a nurse came out and she said to another lady, she was like, oh, just to let you know, we're only having chaperones for certain appointments, so you'll have to go through on your own. And then I was expecting her to come over to me and she didn't. So again, like my mind was racing, tried to keep calm. I can feel myself now, like that beating so fast.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I knew today talking about your journey would bring up memories, but I think it's the reason we want to have this discussion is because we want to make it known to people that it's a scary thing, but we want people to understand people's journeys from different aspects.
Yeah.
Some people might have a really positive journey and be in biopsied operation, but some people's journey doesn't look like that. I think it's really good for us to show different sides of people's journey. Sorry. So no, so
okay. So then she didn't come over to me. So I was looking at Brett, like, I mean, Brett's my husband. He just wasn't giving me any eye contact. He was just like straight ahead. And he was like, no, it's fine. It's fine. And then we went through, they called us through, and we were just sat next to each other. And then my consultant came in.
And was this the same consultant that you'd seen on the day of your biopsy? Was it different?
No, it was a different, a different consultant. So she came in first.
Yeah.
And then a Macmillan nurse came in after her.
So before they even said any words, in your gut, you had a feeling because it was completely different to previous times.
So she just sat down and I thought, no, like she doesn't even have to say.
Yeah.
And then she basically just was like, Leanne, like I'm really sorry to have to tell you, but you have got breast cancer. Just, what on earth? And I remember saying like to Brett, like I looked at him and I was like, no, like that can't be right. Like it's wrong. They've got the wrong person. It's been mixed up.
I think as well because, like I said before, you was 33, you was fit, you went to the gym, you ate really well, you had 2 young babies. People don't associate cancer with someone of your lifestyle.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be thinking those words are going to get said to you.
No.
And I think anybody who has those words said to them has that initial, not me, I think you got it wrong.
Yeah. And it's really stupid as well, but I remember thinking like, you mean I've got 2 little children?
Yeah.
I ain't got time.
Yeah.
And then,
So when they took you in to have that conversation with you, how long was you in that appointment with that Macmillan nurse and the consultant? Was it a case of they just told you and then it was like, here's the next steps? So, like, or did they give you time and space to?
no, not really. It was quite a quick appointment.
Okay.
I'd probably say we was in there for 15, 20 minutes. So yeah, like she told me, and then she said like we needed to do other tests to see exactly what kind it was. She said straight away that I would need a mastectomy. She said just one breath.
Yeah.
Straight away from that moment, I thought, there's no way you're taking one of my boobs. If you're taking one, you're taking them both.
Yeah.
I didn't say that there at the time. I just knew that that's what I wanted. She did speak about chemo. She basically said, her words were, we're going to go at it all belt and braces. So she said, you'll have surgery first, then 6 months of chemo, and then I think 5 weeks of radiotherapy every day. And then once all the surgeries was finished and chemo and stuff, I'd then have to have a tablet and endocrine injection for 10 years.
Now it's a lot of information to retain. Even taking Brett with you, that was a lot of information for both of you to retain.
Yeah.
The process of how it's going to look. So once you left that appointment, how long was it until you was in for surgery?
Quite long, because
we were talking about just coming out of COVID, so everything had ran behind, hadn't it?
Yeah. But I think, to be honest, the reason it took so long is because at first they wouldn't do me a double mastectomy.
Yeah, let's touch on that because, as you just said, in your mind in that appointment, you already knew that you're not having just one
straight away.
Yeah.
And
let's talk a little bit about that process then on it. So
that was actually really stressful.
Yeah.
So because that was the 25th of June that I found out.
Yeah.
And then I didn't end up having my operation until the 8th of August.
Yeah.
It would have been sooner, to be fair. It would have probably been 4 weeks before that.
Yes.
But I think it took me about 6 weeks of back and forth, the surgeons being in MDT and then her coming back to me again and saying, no, Leanne, they haven't agreed. They've only said one. They're only going to take the one breast, see how you feel in 18 months, and then we'll take away the other. And I said, you're not listening to me. They said that I needed a letter from a psychologist, which I was prepared to pay. I think it was like £1,500 just for that letter. And then in the end, it ended up with me saying, well, you either take me to the MDT meeting so I can fight my own corner, because they're basing their decision on other ladies my age.
So they said to you, didn't they, correct me if I'm wrong, they said to you that when they look back at statistics of ladies that had both breasts removed when they only needed one, they went on later in life to regret having both removed.
Yeah.
And like you said, that they're looking at us as statistics, as a group of ladies, not as an individual.
And also previous to this, they'd already said, because I had breast implants, they'd already said to me, even with reconstruction, we wouldn't be able to match that breast back up. So I feel like if they left me with one boob, I'd be mentally unstable now. I couldn't deal with that.
No. And at the end of the day, as a woman, your breast is part of feeling like a woman.
Yeah.
So for them to say you basically may be walking around with one breast for the rest of your life because we can't match it up, And you're going through all of this back and turn,
Yeah.
while still processing that you're 33 with 2 young children, because at the time, 5 and 4, you're 33, and you're going back and forth with these people while trying to process that you had breast cancer.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So when they agreed to take both,
Yeah. Yeah, so they finally agreed to take both.
Mhm.
And my surgeon, she wanted to do it. It was just everyone at MDT that didn't know me weren't agreeing with
exactly.
her.
And that's the issue, I think, sometimes.
Yeah.
These people making these decisions in the background
Mhm.
don't meet the patient, don't know the patient.
Yeah.
And that's where sometimes I think it can go a little bit
Yeah.
uneasy, because they don't know you as a person. They're
No,
just looking at a piece of paperwork and your history and what they go off statistic-wise.
Yeah. Yeah. So then it was quite quick then after that. I think they agreed on the Monday.
Yeah.
And then I had my surgery the following week. So the first surgery was double mastectomy.
Yeah.
With lymph node removal.
Yeah. Lymph nodes are.
Yeah. So they took the first row of my lymph nodes from my left armpit.
Yeah.
Everyone has different amounts of lymph nodes, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
So they take away the first row and test them.
Okay.
So I had my double mastectomy, and they said I'd already had an MRI actually, and it wasn't in any of my lymph nodes.
Okay.
This was probably 4 weeks before surgery that I had the MRI, and then I had surgery. They took away the lymph nodes. So then I was expecting like, oh, well, I already know those results. It's not in my lymph nodes. I won't have to have any more surgery. And then, so got the double mastectomy out of the way. It was so weird, like waking up with nothing.
And I think for you personally, I think because you'd have implants, because you'd naturally had small breasts to begin with, so to go from having implants, which was not overly big, but the people would know you had big boobs.
Yeah.
So I think to go from that to, like you say, to wake up with completely
not even a nipple.
I'm allowed to laugh about it now. But yeah, to wake up to that must have been like...
It was really hard. And I think one of the hardest things was because it was still COVID, I did everything on my own.
Yeah.
So Brett literally dropped me off at the hospital. I went in, it was so busy in there, and I was sat there thinking, wow, I'm sat here on my own. I'm about to have both of my breasts taken away. Like, there's no one here. There was no one there when I woke up. Like, no one was able to visit. I remember just thinking, like, I want to go home.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go home and just be with my family. So, yeah, got that done.
Let's jump back to the lymph nodes. So they tested the lymph nodes.
Yeah. So I just thought, oh, that's going to be fine. And then I think it was probably 2 weeks after I'd had that surgery. I can't remember if I saw them in person or they rang. I can't remember, but it came back and she was like, Leanne, I'm really sorry to have to tell you, but it was in your lymph nodes. You had 5 in the first row, and it was in one of those lymph nodes. With away, sorry, no, that was it. Yeah, it was in one of those lymph nodes. So you're going to have more surgery to take away all your lymph nodes under your left armpit. So again, I was thinking, flipping heck, like I thought I was done.
Thought it was done surgery. You thought it was on the next part of the journey, but actually now to go back again.
Yeah. And then I remember thinking at the time, like, obviously I have a very, very strong positive mind, but I'm going to have days where I was terrified.
Actually. And like you said, you was doing all of that by yourself in terms of going to the appointments, going for surgery, going under the knife, waking up. Those times you was by yourself. Yes, he was there when you got home, and Brett was there, and the kids was there, and the family was there, but at the hospital side of it, it was always by yourself.
Yeah.
So they did the surgery, they took the lymph nodes.
Yeah, so they took away all my lymph nodes under my left armpit. There was 19 altogether, and it was only in that one. So that first time they took away those lymph nodes, it was just in that one, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Because then that put my mind at rest a little bit, because when they said, "Oh, Leanne, it's in your lymph nodes," I was thinking, it's my lymph nodes are near my neck. It's like near my head.
It's moving everywhere.
Yeah. I wasn't in a good place actually then.
And since they took your lymph nodes, you have
Slight lymphedema.
Yeah. And that is from them taking the lymph nodes,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. So because the arm doesn't drain off fluid as much, it's slightly bigger than this.
And for someone who doesn't know you, to look at you now, you wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
But obviously, you know, like you can feel,
Yeah.
you know, the difference on each side. So again, that's another thing that makes you conscious of how you look, what you wear. So let's jump now to the chemo radio. So that was a journey, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was hard. I really underestimated chemotherapy.
Yeah.
Not underestimated it. That's not the right word. I didn't think it'd be as bad as it actually was.
Think, if I'm correcting my mum again, that because of your age, because of you was fit, because you was healthy, your surgeon said to you, your consultant said to you, let's go full force, let's go at it. We're going to give you the strongest chemo, we're going to give you the toughest rounds of it. Thinking your body could take it and could handle it. So your first session of chemo, which you have still got. And what was the port for? When they fitted that port?
The port was because I had no lymph nodes in this arm.
Yeah.
They couldn't use the veins or anything in this arm to take bloods from or like inject the chemo through. And then the veins on this arm, they said weren't great. So because they're constantly in with the needles and stuff like that, she said it'd be better for you if we fit a port. So I went to the Christie for that. And I remember thinking it was just like, she described it to me, and I've kept it actually. She described it to me as a fruit shoot lid, and then the needles go straight into there. So I just thought like, oh, they're just going to cut that little bit there, pop the fruit shoot lid in, stitch it up, done. I honestly thought I'd be in and out in 15 minutes. It was an actual procedure. So I think it took about 45 minutes altogether. And then they put like the tube that goes to your heart, and then one went up my neck, and you could see that one, like you could see that it used to go through me. That,
and you had that in, didn't you? Like for the whole time, the whole journey.
Yeah,
from having your lymph node surgery to chemo to radio.
Yeah,
you had that in the whole time. But it wasn't a case of we put it in, we take it out.
No.
When you have a treatment, it was in all the time.
And although it was like, it didn't hurt when she did it. It was just a really weird feeling.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting it to be as much as a procedure.
And I think again, people would know you're sick, or they would know something's up with you.
Yeah, because you could see
you could see the port.
Yeah.
So again, without explaining that you're poorly or you're sick, people would automatically know, oh, she's got something going on here. So your first round of chemo. How was that for you? Let's talk about the first day.
So I used to go the day before or the day before that. They'd take my bloods to make sure like my immune system was strong enough. So they'd take my bloods. They'd give me steroids to take for a couple of days before. Can't really remember. It was 1 day or 2.
Yeah.
And then then everything would be fine. Everything was fine all the time. So I was always strong enough to have it done. So it took me. I had to go in on my own. And I remember we pulled up outside, and he was like, "Go on then." And I said, "No, I'm not doing it." He said, "What do you mean?" I was like, "No, I'm not doing it. I don't want it done. I've had enough. Like I'm done. Don't."
And you was only halfway through the journey at this point.
Yeah.
And that's good to touch on for people who maybe stand out on the journey or haven't, maybe in the future might come across this journey. Is you have days where you're really positive and you was like, I can do this, I've got this, and you go everything in it, and then you have days like that where it's like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, like I just didn't want to do
Yeah.
it. And then I got out of the car upstairs, and this was at Oldham Breast Unit,
Right, okay.
so Victoria Breast Unit. So then Rachel came out and she was like, "Ollie, I'm really sorry, we're just running a little bit late. Would you wait here for 10 minutes?" So I was like, "Yeah, of course." So sat down, got my phone out. The first thing that came up was a picture of Patrick Swayze and a picture of Jade Goody saying all this stuff about chemo. And I was like, "Oh, it's a sign, I'm going." Got up again and went, "Leanne, what on earth are you doing?" And then I think my head just went a bit.
Yeah.
Did get back out of the car, go back in. So then I had my own room,
Yeah.
went in. I was trying the cold cap as well.
I'm going to say, let's just touch
Yeah.
on people. The cold cap is basically to freeze the follicles of your hair,
Yeah.
to try and keep your hair while you're going through chemo.
Yeah.
Because as many people know, you associate chemo with losing your hair.
Mm.
And the cold cap is to try and prevent that.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work.
No.
You know, it might prevent it from losing as much, but it doesn't mean it's going to stop you from losing it altogether.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've seen some pictures of you with that cold cap through your journey on the family WhatsApp group. Yeah, we've seen pictures of that, and it's not the best looking thing. It's not, but if it did the job, it did the job.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So had the cold cap on, and then they come through with the chemo trolley.
Yeah.
And it's in like these big syringes.
Yeah.
And there was literally one, it was like as red as my dress.
Yeah.
I think she called it the Red Devil.
Yeah.
So they went through first. I had two at the same time for like the first 3 months.
Yeah.
So then I think it took a couple of hours to do. And then I had to wait there for probably about an hour after it just to make sure that I was okay.
Yeah.
Not having a reaction.
Yeah.
So that was the Wednesday. And then I remember her saying, "Leanne, go and eat something." So that was like my little routine. I'd always go and eat something straight after, because then I honestly probably wouldn't eat properly then for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, went home, had something to eat. My children was at their grandma's in Anglesey because it was half term. I'm so glad they were there, because I got home and then it must have been about 6 o'clock at night. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, what on earth is going on?
Yeah.
It was pretty horrendous.
Yeah.
That was the Wednesday.
And it was every Wednesday. I remember Wednesdays was the day, wasn't it? When it came round to chemo treatment, it was every day.
Wednesday.
And I knew that Wednesday. Was it every 3 weeks?
Every 3, yeah.
So you'd have your chemo on the Wednesday. 2 weeks after, you'd be floored, basically.
Because if you remember, I was having a reaction to not the Red Devil chemo, the other one.
Yeah.
I always get the name wrong.
Yeah.
Foxafate or something. So it happened like clockwork. I'd have it on the Wednesday, and then the Friday night, I'd end up having to ring an ambulance or go up to A&E. And I genuinely, when I was having those reactions, I thought I was dying.
Yeah, and I think that's something we need to touch on, is that it's not a case of you have your chemo and then you wait 3 weeks, you have your next round of chemo.
Mm-hmm.
In between those treatments, patients like yourself go through a journey on its own.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's like clockwork.
Yeah.
Every second day of your treatment, you was ringing an ambulance or you was being carted up to A&E.
Mm-hmm.
You spent hours up at A&E.
Yeah.
And that's such a negative impact on your journey.
Yeah.
Because you just want to get better.
Yeah, exactly.
So to be having that part of your journey of chemo, it's just another thing to add on.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like you would go up to A&E, you'd be seen. Some hospitals that you went to didn't understand that you had the port.
No, I know.
So they was putting things, trying to give you things when they could just put it through the port and things like that. So I think when you was very poorly anyway from your chemo, then having to get
Yeah.
carted up to the A&E or to the hospitals, and then having to go through all the process of being there all night. Some nights she was there for hours on end.
I know.
And you wouldn't get home till the Saturday night.
No.
Which chemo in itself is a very tiring, draining treatment, and it takes a lot out of you. So to then on the Friday have to then deal with that on top of it was a lot, and that became your routine.
Yeah, it did.
So how long was your chemo?
6 months.
6 months worth of chemo.
6 months.
Yeah. And at one point when you was getting very poorly, you was really struggling with the dosage. Did they change your dosage?
Yeah. So I think I'd been to hospital like 2 or 3 times, and because I was going up to A&E and not the Christie, because the Christie's like 45 minutes away, I wouldn't have made it. I was in too much pain. Then someone had ring me, and I think I ended up in the end ringing my oncologist saying, look, like I can't do this. We're going to have to change something. And she said she would lower the dose by a few percent.
Okay.
Or lower the dosage by a few percent. So she said because they was going at it full force, she'd made the dose higher just in case she needed to lower it.
Okay.
So I was having a reaction to the second one.
Right.
It was doing something to my bladder line.
Okay.
So then she reduced that, and then I had one more of that cycle, and then I was switching to a different one anyway.
Yeah.
So when I had that last cycle, I wasn't good, but I didn't end up in hospital.
In hospital.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I think as a family member from the outside watching, it was, you would have your treatment on Wednesday, and let me come up. And it was very hard to see, because I keep touching, but you was at the gym 5 days a week, you was always up, you was always healthy, and then to see you on that Wednesday in the bed, basically like a child.
Yeah. I know. And I lost loads of weight, and I probably did.
Yeah.
Childlike.
Honestly, you did. Like when I used to come up to the bedroom, and you'd be lay there, it was like, when a child's sick.
Yeah.
And that's what it was like. It's like, you're not the same person.
No, I know.
And then you'd finish that. So let's go back. So you'd finish up like that. You finish your 6 months chemo.
Yeah.
When did you start your radiotherapy? Sorry to interrupt. There was a little bit in between, wasn't there, where they said it was stage 3, and it was actually stage. Did they say something about stages, or am I wrong?
I think at first they said it was a 2.
Yeah.
And then they said it was a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. They said it was a 3.
Yeah. And was that after because they were saying something like you wouldn't have much radio, but they changed the radiotherapy.
Yeah. So I think at first I should have only had 2 weeks of radio.
Yeah.
And then I had it every day for 4 or 5 weeks, but not the weekend.
Yeah.
And
which is intense, and it's now you've
is.
just done 6 months of chemo, and now you're doing radiotherapy 5 days a week for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And I think this is important to touch on it. While you're going through this, you're still trying to do normal
and work.
Exactly. Like, it's a massive chunk of time to take out of your life, of the children, your day-to-day stuff, the household. It's a lot of pressure that you kind of put on your other halves, or your family members, because you just genuinely can't do it. You're too tired, you're too weak, you're in the midst of treatment, and it's so from the mental side of it affects people in that side, because you want to be able to get up and
of course,
take the children to school, pick the children up from school, take them to activities, do all of those normal things that normal people do. But while going through treatment, that just sometimes isn't possible.
No. And I think on the whole, I literally did everything. I think it was just so, like, I'd have chemo on the Wednesday, and then my children would stay at my mum's for 2 nights, which I used to hate. But I think it's
necessary for you, but also the kids. It's they don't want to see you wrapped up in a ball on the bed.
No, and luckily they didn't.
I was just going to touch on that actually. my niece and my nephew, your 2-year-old Arabella, they never actually knew.
No, Roman's 10 now. He only found out like 2 months ago because he asked.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they never knew how sick you were.
No,
They just thought that you had poorly boobies,
Yeah.
and the doctor removed them.
like
They
literally. Yeah.
didn't understand the word cancer. They
No.
didn't understand exactly what had happened.
Didn't.
So yeah, so I think that really did shelter them from that
Yeah.
side of things. So we've touched on chemo, we've touched on radio.
Yeah.
What was the next process after you'd finished your 5 weeks of radiotherapy?
So yeah, did radiotherapy, and then that was a breeze compared to
Yeah, I
chemo.
remember it was nothing like your chemo
Yeah.
journey, was it? Your
No.
radiotherapy, yeah.
But then I've spoke to people after, and they've said like radiotherapy was really hard for them. But I think because I'd had such a bad time with chemo, radio was actually pretty easy for
Yeah,
me. It was like
yeah.
a little break.
Yeah.
So yeah, then I finished that, and then I don't know. It's so bizarre. Like I literally went in, had my last radiotherapy, and then I didn't really have any other appointments scheduled then. And I remember thinking like walking out of the Christie after that last
Yeah.
radio, thinking, what do I do now?
Because it had been your life. It is so long.
Yeah.
You know, appointment after appointment, chemo, radio, going to A&E, going to hospital, going to the Christies. It had been your life for so many months.
Yes.
It's like you say when you walk out, it's just like
What do
I do now? Is that it?
Yeah. It's really strange. And it's sort of like a little like security blanket.
Yeah.
Like I'd always think, oh, I'm there again tomorrow. I'll ask them then. And there's always somebody there for me to ring, ask, like whatever. And then they scheduled another appointment to have my like endocrine treatment and the like the hormonal treatment basically.
Yeah. So let's just touch on your gene of breast cancer. So it was hormonal, wasn't it? It was,
Yeah.
What was the actual term for? Okay. And was it your estrogen?
Yeah.
So it was feeding off your estrogen levels, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that's why you have to have hormonal treatment now, don't you?
Yeah. So it's like a tablet that you take every day, which I think reduces like cancer cells, maybe estrogen. And then I have it's like an implant that gets injected into my stomach once a month, and that switches off my ovaries. So I'm forced into a medical menopause.
Yeah, which is again another massive thing.
Yeah.
As a woman, to all of a sudden be told, we're going to force you into menopause at the age of, at this point, you would have been 34. You know, you've got many years to potentially have more children if you wanted to. You know, things like that. To be told that we're now going to force you into menopause is now another step on the journey of something you never wanted. No one wants to go into menopause at all because of the horror stories you hear of menopause and the symptoms. And to be having those symptoms at the age of 34, when you associate menopause with a lady in their late stage of life, it's like your womanhood has been taken. So your symptoms came quite when you was forced into the menopause. You had the night sweats. Yeah, I mean, you'd have really hot flushes. Which again, for a 34-year-old woman to be stood there going, oh, God, I'm having a hot flush.
Like a little sweat patch.
Yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot. It is a lot. And again, it's something that you wouldn't wish on anybody really. So you was forced into the menopause. You're still on that journey now, aren't you? With the injection implant that you have. Where do you go to for that?
I go to Berry Hospice for that.
Okay.
So yeah, I go there once a month, and like it's weird. Every time I go there, I cry.
Yeah.
And it's like it's so strange because I sit in the car and I'm like, right, you're not going to cry today, but then I go in and I can't control it.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And you know what? How many years on me now from that day when you sat in that consultant's office and they said, I'm really sorry, Leanne, it's breast cancer. how many years are we now? 5,
Four.
4,
5 next year.
5 next year. So it's still new,
Yeah.
freshly new.
Yeah.
So, and to be going to a hospice once a month, it will trigger
it does.
certain feelings and feelings of sadness. Because at the end, in your limited, shouldn't have to be going to hospices to have treatment.
No, I know. It's weird though, because so I cry, and it's like 30 seconds, and then I'm okay.
It's like a release.
Yeah,
it's like a release.
But then I also feel really guilty. Like when I've cried, I think, Leanne, what are you crying for? Like there's people in here that they're not going to get out of here. So it's a mixture of like sadness, guilt, overwhelmed, trauma. Like it's a lot.
And that word is massive, trauma.
Yeah.
Because your journey with breast cancer has finished to a degree. You've had your surgery, you've had your chemo, you've had your radiotherapy, you still have to have certain injections and treatment for many years to come. You're in the menopause, but your journey doesn't stop.
No.
It stops in the case of you're not going to hospitals every other week.
Yeah.
You're not going to this appointment every other week, but you're still on this journey. And technically, I would say you're on that journey for forever.
Like mentally, especially.
Yeah. So I want to touch on that a little bit, because I still know that you do.
Yeah, I do struggle.
I know you won't mind saying you still do struggle sometimes. Sometimes you'll ring me and you're like, "Have you got a lump in this place?" Like, and I'm like, "Yes, I have got a lump there. It's an actual lump." And you still do panic sometimes. And that is natural.
Yeah.
It's normal. You are going to think that. I think people need to understand that someone on a journey like yours, you are going to panic and have those worrying thoughts quite often.
Yeah. Like if I don't know, it's weird. Like if someone has an itch or like a little bit of something, it's just an itch or just a lump or a pain, I automatically, I'm like, what is that? Yeah. Like, is that there? Have you got that? Yeah. Brett, feel here. Brett, feel here again. Has it changed? Does that feel different to you? Like, Mum, have you got this? Jess, have you got that?
And it's a lot, because you was never like that previously before you got diagnosed. You was never worried like that about things. So I think it changes you as a person. It can make you stronger.
Yeah.
It can also make you not weaker. That I don't like that word, but it can make you think a lot different.
Yeah.
Not as positive sometimes. And you went through therapy, didn't you?
Yeah. Which, do you know what helped a lot actually?
Yeah.
Kerry from the Christie, she really helped me. And since I've seen Kerry, I'm nowhere near as much as I was.
Yeah.
As bad as I was, sorry. But I do still have days where I think, oh no.
Yeah.
But
and I think you'll have that forever.
Yeah.
You'll have that forever. And I think it's also to touch on family members as well, because I think it changes our outlook a lot different, because as you know, I then got referred to family clinic.
Yeah.
I'm now going to have my screening at 40 rather than the age of 50. So, your family members, they was on that journey with you as well, and they're still living that journey with the person who's on the journey, and it's hard as a family member and outside, because you want to help the person so badly, but there's only you can only be there. So for little things like when it got to the point of your hair was falling out quite a lot, obviously I was the one who shaved your hair, and it's just those little things where you can be there on that journey, because there's only so much we can do on the journey with you. We're not the clinicians, we're not the surgeons, we're not the people giving the treatment, but we don't work with the Christies. So it's just those little things in between. Where as family we can be there to do that. So how are you today?
Today I'm good.
Yeah.
Today all good.
I mean, in terms of like like you say, with 4 years on, yes, you still have monthly appointments, certain, people, and you have things that go on in the background, but physically, you're back at the gym.
Oh,
I mean,
like,
actually, you was back at the gym after you finished your chemo.
yeah,
Because I think that got shared quite a lot around social media, because no one would ever have knew that you've been through what you've been through, because you was in the gym. You probably looked the best you'd ever looked, in terms of physique. But I think the only reason people would know that you was unwell is because at that point you was wearing your wigs. So obviously in the gym you was bald. He was literally shining bald. But I think people was like, wow, like.
Yeah, but then I do think like we only share things, don't we, on social media that people
I was just going to say that. So you physically looked well. Yeah. You physically looked great. But mentally you was in a completely different headspace. Yeah. You was broken. Yeah. Mentally. Yeah. So I think, like you say, we always share what we want people to see. But yeah, today, you're now back in the gym all the time. You're Pilates instructor. You teach Pilates. Yeah.
Eat so well, like I check everything that I eat as much as I can. People probably think I'm tight with my children because I'm like, no, you're not eating that.
Yeah, you are. Literally, the kids come out and they're like, Mum said I can't have that. and my son's like, I love it. But I think that's what people need to also realise is when I say it changes in person, it changes in person because you want to make sure you're putting the right things in your body. You're getting the correct vitamins, you're treating yourself correctly, and at the end of the day, you just want to look after yourself, your children, Brett,
that running around after my grandchildren. And like I want to be here, so I'll do everything that I can to make sure that
so will you what will your journey look like now with like screening? Will you get called with screening still? Have you thought about that?
No, actually not. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know actually.
Yeah. I mean, what have they said? Have they said the words remission? Like, are you going to have any more checkups with anybody, or is it just a case of you just continue to check your breasts as you did? You're very vocal about that. You share it a lot on social media, don't you, about checking your breasts, and just women being, and men being self-aware of your breasts. And also, I think it's good to let people know is checking your breasts isn't a case of just checking your breast.
No.
You've got your under your armpits, you've got the breastbone, always the collarbone. I think it's really important for that.
Yeah.
And you're very passionate about making sure people are checking. Yeah. You need to understand your body. You need to know what's normal for you.
Exactly.
Because I might have a lump in one breast, but I know that's been there for a very long time. It's normal. And I think the breasts are very hard area because you've got your natural fat. It's very rickety, it's very lumpy as it is. So I think it's getting to know what your own body, what your breasts look like, how they feel. So anything else you would want to let anyone know, or anything else that you think we've missed or we've not touched on through your journey?
Just probably maybe symptoms.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have any.
Yes.
Which it's quite a big thing. I just found this lump. So I just think if you've got anything, like always go and get it checked.
But you wasn't sick, you wasn't losing the weight at that point.
No,
obviously lost the weight through treatment, but you wasn't losing weight.
No,
you wasn't sick, you didn't feel sick.
No,
it was literally just a lump.
Yeah.
And that's why it's really important for people to be checking their and not even just your breast, you need to understand your body as a whole, because obviously there's many different types of cancer. So I think it's really good for people to be in tune with their bodies, and not just, at the end of the day, our body is what is keeping us here.
Yeah.
If we fail, it's like a car. If you don't MOT your car, it's going to fail. Yeah. So we need to look after our bodies, and we need to understand our bodies and what is normal and what is natural and what we have, to be able to look after it. Yeah. Because if you don't look after your body,
like if you've not got your health, then you've honestly got nothing.
Exactly.
Like,
and I think from you, you're someone who can can speak on that
Yeah.
because you've been through a hard journey
Yeah.
with breast cancer. Anything else?
So, all good?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Leanne. Thanks for
you.
joining
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. As you can tell, it was an emotional one, but I think it was really, really positive in respects of getting the message out there for patients. So yeah, thank you. Catch you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.